And good evening and welcome to Poultry Keepers 360 Live. Got a new little intro for y'all tonight.
I noticed that. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that till this now.
Yeah, I just thought I'd surprise you guys.
You
just
did.
Pulled that one out of your pocket, fresh.
Got a new outro too.
Oh,
Holy cow! He has been busy.
Well, good to see everybody here tonight.
We thought he was taking naps, and he was working on new intros and outros.
No, I told you I was thinking about taking a nap. I didn't say I was actually taking a nap. Gosh, it's good to be here, everybody. I hope y'all have a good day. I hope you've been having a good week so far. And we are going to do our very first online game. Carrie had a brainstorm of an idea, and I got kind of suckered into it a little bit, but I'm going to turn it over to him because it's all his brainstorm. So, Carrie, it's all yours, buddy.
Oh, wow. All right. Cool. So we had this idea, and what we're going to do is we are going to have a game called Coupe IQ. And with this game, there are 3 different areas. And as you may have guessed, they are to what we consider the most important areas of poultry keeping. Wouldn't you say that's right, Rip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I posted bonus content about that, the Poultry Keepers Pyramid.
Yep. It is in reference to the Poultry Keepers Pyramid. We're going to have 3 different trophies. I went by the trophy shop today and they were closed, but I called and the guy said that he will be there tomorrow. So we've got 300 questions that we put together in order from difficulty of shouldn't be all the way up to the last few questions. I got to say, Rip, I'm curious to see if anybody actually even gets them right.
Some of them made me scratch my head, I'll be honest with you.
And if it makes you scratch your head, then some people might lose more hair than you have.
Well, I feel sorry for them then.
So with the 3 different areas, there's the master feeder. And that's where we talk about feed and management and that kind of stuff. Then we've got the master breeder. And that's obviously where we'll have questions about, breeding. And we have the PK 360 Master Poultry Manager. And with that, obviously, is going to be about poultry management. So 300 questions, 3 different categories. What we're going to do is I have an Excel spreadsheet that I created, and we will tally your name and keep up with how many correct answers you get in each category. And when we get through all the questions in one particular category, we will figure up and tally up the winner and pray that we don't have to ship your trophy to Ireland or somewhere like that. But, if we do, we do. And it is what it is. This is to, y'all seen some posts on the group about, some people took things different ways. But our whole purpose behind 95% of the things that we post is specifically to get you guys to think and to start some good conversation about different topics. So, it can help make y'all better poultry keepers. That's the thought. Yeah, either one of y'all have anything that y'all would like to add?
Well, y'all were making sport of my nap, and Sue, bless her heart, she comes up with the perfect comment. Sue says naps are wonderful. I'm with Sue. Naps are wonderful. Thank you,
Yes, they
Sue.
are.
I just wish I could take one. For me, it's always so difficult during the daytime.
Well, if it's any consolation, when you get older, you'll be taking them. Trust me.
I mean, I feel like it now because sometimes I run out of gas. And see, I think when was it? Maybe last Thursday? No, it was Sunday afternoon. I was over here working, and I had a recording that I had to do at 5:00, and I was out of gas at 3. And luckily, I have a couch in my office, and I made use of it. My wife went to surprise me and brought me some supper, and almost gave me a heart attack. All right,
No
so
better than putting a nap couch in my office. I would go to sleep.
yeah, well,
So are you doing one category per show? So you're either going to do feed, breed, or management, or
well, today's show is all going to be on management because I am waiting on some people to give me some feedback on breeding, and because those is really hard to find questions and answers, as far as a game. So we're actually going to talk to some large fowl, different types of breeders and large fowl, some small birds, game birds, different people, and get us a bunch of questions and then figure out an order of difficulty on them. And with the feeding questions, I have a guy that I need to talk to about putting those together, but unfortunately, he hasn't had the best week, and he's been a little swamped the last 2 weeks. So, haven't really been able to hit him up with that yet.
So if you're thinking we're going to do 3 shows in a row, probably not going to happen.
I mean, I don't know if should we
It
do
might.
all 100 questions in one show?
No, I don't think we can.
There's no way you're going to. I don't think you're going to get through 100 questions. But
No.
hey,
I mean, I think we might get through 10 or 15. All right, so are we ready to start with the management category?
If you're ready, I'm ready. Whatever
All right,
I'm
so
supposed to do.
the way we're going to play this, everyone, is I see there's quite a few of y'all online watching. So the way we're going to play this, and it only works if you answer the question live. So you got to tune in every 2 weeks, get in live, and get it going. I want you to, if you know the answer, be ready to type. I don't care if it's one thing, and hit enter to get it in the comment. And so after we have a couple of people chime in, we will start with the first one. If they get it right, they get it right. They get a point. If they don't, we'll move to the next one. That way it's kind of not necessarily up to the fast typer, but we actually get to hear what people have to say, because I know some of our listeners personally, and God bless them. If it was left up to their typing skills, they'd probably just hit exit and talk to us later.
I can identify.
Yeah. So the first question, and this is the easiest of them all, is Joy, I'm keeping score. I got an Excel spreadsheet that I'm going to track throughout the whole game. So the first question is, what do chickens eat? And it's not just feed. That's not the answer. Surely somebody's going to throw out a guess. Grit is not the correct answer.
Omnivores is not the correct answer.
Mm-mm. Let's see. Laurie is
Laura.
close.
I'd say that's close enough for government work.
Yep. So this is the as close as what we have. John Pelton's answer, if he would have put it in there sooner, would probably be correct as well. But the correct answer that we're looking for is grains, seeds, greens, insects, and formulated poultry feed. So that proteins, grains, bugs, that covers that. So let me put her name.
We have a leader.
Yeah, we have a winner or leader. All right. Let's see. And Sue, you are correct. Anything edible. And guys, chickens, they will eat anything. They are not omnivores. If you put a deer carcass in your chicken run, they will pick it clean. I have not done that, but I know people that have, and they will pick it clean. And Daniel has a really good answer. If they know what's good for them, Daniel is correct. It's feed formulated by Jeff. I mean, it is. So, all right. We ready for question number 2?
Go for
Y'all
it.
good? All right. How often during, let's say at an average, not particular winter, particular summer, but how often should you collect eggs? Well, Chris, we do appreciate you not texting or commenting and driving.
Yes.
And I'm sure everybody around you does too. Let's see. Joy popped that up real fast.
Every day.
And every day.
At least once a day.
Yep. Now, I will say the reason I said not, a particular time of the year is because I think that, like, if you're in the South when it's 100 plus, you need to get them in the morning around 11 o'clock, and you need to get them in the evening too. Otherwise, they're going to start incubating while they're in the nest box. And, if you're up there where Jeff lives or further north, like our friend John Gunnerman, probably every 2 hours in the wintertime, I would say. And Jason, really, it doesn't matter for the purpose, eating or hatching. You should collect them every day. Eating eggs can be done every other day in the colder months, but
Depends on how cold.
Yeah, you run the
don't
risk
water
of
down your
how
standards.
cold.
The minimum is once a day.
Yes.
Right? Actually,
Yep.
the right answer is, the minimum actually should be twice a day, but that's not going to happen. And I know that's unrealistic. And the best poultry keepers will gather eggs as many as 4 times a day.
Mm-hmm. And Jason, that's why we said it as a general rule any time of the year, because we know in Vermont, Alaska, Montana, whatever, in the wintertime, you need to get them every 2 hours because they'll freeze pretty fast. I actually think John Gunnerman did a YouTube video on how fast they would freeze, which was kind of interesting. Let's see here. Oh, I like this one. And this one, some folks are going to be like, this is a dumb question. But hey, we have seen straight up arguments about this question. Question number 3. What is a rooster? Now, I know if you are in California with the House bill that they're working on, you may want to see if your your roosters will identify as a hen. But this was the first correct answer, right?
Yes.
All right. So, farming and art. And folks, I will say, if you change your YouTube handle during this process, you will want to let us know so we can make sure that you get the correct amount of points. I will say that's a nice looking barring right there. Breeding roost. Now this one right here is real detailed.
I think that honestly, that's the answer that I would have said it had been me. It's just a male chicken. It can be under a year, over a year.
Yeah, the over a year part is a little extra. But I mean, the correct answer was a male chicken. And a lot of people don't consider them to be adults until after they're a year old. Let's see here. Ooh, I'll ask this question first, and then I got to tell y'all about something that I did this morning. This question is, how long does it take for a chicken egg to hatch? I've been hearing noises coming out of my hatcher for the last couple of days. Let's see, today's Thursday. So starting Wednesday afternoon, I started hearing some noise. And I hatched out a little over 60 American breasts, about a dozen Rhode Island Reds, and a good handful of some games to know that all of my breeding pens for game birds are on point. And John Pelton has the correct answer. Now, Rip, you've hatched at least a couple birds in your days, right?
Yeah, a couple too many.
So 19 to 21 days. Let's talk about some conditions that could make them come out early.
Usually it's when the temperature in the incubator is too high.
By too high, do you mean like 1 or 2 degrees?
Yeah, not real high, but like 1 or 2 degrees.
So like if it's like 101, 102?
Yeah.
Anything above that, you're probably slow roasting?
Anything above that, you're taking some awful chances. And usually when that happens, the poultry keeper doesn't even realize that they've got maybe a bad thermostat or a bad thermometer.
Rob Guerin says small eggs hatch sooner.
Could be. Rob, I'll be honest with you, I never paid any attention to that.
smaller within the same breed, like a lighter weight egg versus, a heavier egg? Is that what you're referring to, Rob?
Yeah, I wonder if it's
I could
like,
see that. I didn't know if he was comparing like bantam to large fowl, but I think what I'm reading is, that's
well, his readings, smaller eggs hatch sooner, but he said it's not necessarily his experience. Jungle fowl eggs is what he said are closer to 19.
okay.
I don't have any jungle fowl, but I do have game fowl.
Jungle
And-
fowl,
Hummers are earlier too.
jungle fowls, you kind of all bets are off with those things sometimes. They don't play by the rules.
And I have also learned that this is when you incubate. I'll say that because we've talked about this before. When you incubate eggs, you have to be perfect. You have to be consistent. And I know Rip has done a really deep dive into incubating, and I figure that will pop out sometime in the next couple of weeks. And when it does, y'all need to listen to it and pay attention, because when you incubate, it's got to be perfect. Like, no, it's got to be perfect. Those things outside in the brood pen and your hen hatching, it could be 19 days. It could be 21 or 22 days.
That'll actually post on Saturday.
This coming Saturday?
Yes.
Perfect. Because it's your house. The temperature could be off, the humidity could be off, but that hen, when she does it, I mean, that's going to be your best hatch.
And kind of dovetailing on to what Jeff said, I know they've done studies, and within the same breed, they prefer eggs towards the smaller end of the scale rather than the extra large and the large size eggs, because they hatch better, they hatch more uniformly, and the chicks, they may be a little bit smaller at hatch, but they seem to catch up really, really quick.
Well, I will say this morning when I was emptying out my hatcher, I did not get a chance to do my first cull because I was really running late. And I got a call from my wife that said her car would not crank. She left the house, went to the gas station, 3 kids in the car, and yeah, so that's how my day got started. Let's see. Brendan Art says, when eggs sit on the counter for a couple of days while being collected to get a hatch, say you're collecting 40 for a hatch and get 5 to 10 a day, can that cause sooner hatches in some of the chicks? I'll say this for me personally, some of the eggs that I incubated that I took out this morning were a little over 3 weeks old. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to see how long of a hatchability I had. And I had just as good a hatch rate on the older ones as I did on the newer ones. I attribute that a lot to the nutrition that the breeding stock has, because it's on point. So I think that has increased the hatchability and that time frame. I don't recommend 3.5 weeks to hold eggs on the counter. Again, that was a test that I was doing.
Rob had a good follow-up, and he's right on the money here. Eggs take longer to hatch. Every day of storage causes an extra hour per day.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Carrie, you held eggs for 3 weeks to hatch.
A little over 3 weeks. Yeah.
What was the hatch rate?
I did not get to count the ones that did not hatch. I do still have them in the hatch boxes. I plan on hatching that. But based on the looks of the hatch, it's going to be high 80s at least. Out of the ones that I was holding that long, it was my American breast. And I got about 60 or 70 of them in the hatcher. They're all in the brooder now.
Back when I was doing a lot of hatching, I would hold my eggs for a week and then set them. I'd collect eggs for a week and then set. Collect eggs for a week and then set. So I had chicks coming off every week.
I was going to say a lot of people that, regularly have chicks, that's what they do. So they have some every week.
Yes.
And I know, like for you were supplying a feed store with your culls.
Well, I was also shipping a lot of baby chicks back then. I wouldn't do that again, though. Too much work.
Let's see. Yeah, general research shows it's about the same rate up to 2 weeks. Now, I'll say with this, dropping a good bit on the hatch from 2 to 3 week mark and then really dropping after 3, I do tend to agree that with general research, I have been feeding mine just formulation for quite a while, and I wanted to see just how long. I am in the process of getting a wine cooler, not because I drink the wine, but because you can set them to a 62 degree temperature. And I actually want to get some 30 plus day old eggs and see how many I can hatch for science, because why not?
Inquiring minds want to know.
I have had quite a few people ask me about questions about some of your formulations, and some of them I've been able to answer. Some of them I've had other people that I work with that are using them answer, and others I have been testing myself. Yep. Jason says I like 1 to 6 day holds, all of them within 2 to 3 grams of the weight. Lots of 95 to 100. That is going to be good because your chicks will be uniform. Now, like for me, I set 60 to 65 gram on my American breast and 60 to 65 on my Rhode Island Reds as well. I don't set anything smaller just because in my experience, the ones that are closer to the 50 grams are typically for those large fowl breeds are pullet eggs. And I culled a whole lot straight out of the hatcher. So I didn't want to waste the space.
What we got for another question here? We about beat this one to death.
Next question is, what is the purpose of a nesting box?
I don't know if you were specific enough, Gary.
What is the purpose of a nesting box? Rip, do you see the answers to the questions?
Yes.
So which do we have one of these?
It's to provide a clean, quiet, and safe place for hens to lay eggs.
Yeah, we've got lots of lay eggs, but do we have anybody that hit on the whole?
Not hit on the whole thing, Laurie.
Did Laura get it?
Laurie said safe place to lay eggs.
Well, Daniel said protection and comfort
For good quality
eggs, but I don't know.
Yep, I will let y'all call that one.
That sounds like a pretty good tie to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with Laura and Daniel.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I meant. I didn't know if your question was detailed enough for people to understand what you were looking for. It's okay. It's good.
All right.
I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to forgive me for showing this, but
you and I were chuckling at the same time when we read it.
So, Jason, they make a device that is designed for throwing tennis balls for your dog. It's a piece of plastic, like 18 to 20 inches, something like that. Has a little cup on the end of it to you to stick the tennis ball in and chunk it. Grab you one of those, and it'll help out a lot.
I'll be honest with you, I had thought about one time getting one of those chain mail gloves like the butchers use to keep from cutting their hands.
My granddaddy, and this is what made me think about the dog thrower. He had a Vienna can nailed to the end of a dowel rod that's probably like half to 1 inch and probably 4 foot long. And he would, reach in. His pins were about 3.5 feet off the ground. He raised his bantams on wire, and that's, he'd have to reach to get them.
Yeah,
Laurie said something. I've used that before, a pasta spoon.
Yep. Let's see.
All right.
Rob says to wear gloves. And Joy says that I need to be more specific with my questions. Okay, she's been hanging out with Jeff a lot.
Okay.
I mean, what's the purpose? I just thought.
All right. I'm trying to refrain. So.
And I agree with Farmer and Art. French class was a struggle for me. The parties, I like those because we made traditional food. But yeah. So what is the definition of free ranging? And again, some of you slow typers, if you can just hit the number 1 and hit enter, and then, give us your answer, that'll get you in. I like Sue's answer for that one. Ooh, I like Laurie's too.
Yeah.
I like Rob's.
Yeah.
All right, Rip.
Sure.
The answer is that we have here it means chickens have access to the outdoors for part of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Would that be open feeding area?
Yes, I think you could make that
All
assumption.
right. Open feeding area. Is that who got it first?
John Pelton, yeah.
Yep. All right. Hey, we have a new leader. John Pelton's leading it up now. Let's see. And I like that. No fences. And to me, I really hate having to have mine in pens and fences. If I didn't have a raccoon problem, I mean, I put mine up for their own protection. So let's see. The next question is, how can you tell that? And this is a very specific manner, and it's pretty definitive. How can you tell if an egg is fresh? By fresh, I mean still good to eat. Let's say you're not sure how long it's been sitting on the counter and you feel confident you need to check it out before you make breakfast. Boom. Laura popped out really fast with that one.
Yeah.
Got to do that float test. Place it in water. If fresh eggs sink, old eggs will float.
Laura was ready.
Sounds like she's done that a time or two.
I have. And I really wish that I hadn't have, but I have. And then I just got to the point where I've got some of the Ticonderoga makes some round, like when I was in grade school, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all others, you didn't have the number 2 pencils like a lot of people have today. You have the I don't know what it was. Do you know, Rip? The one that was about as big around as your pinky?
I don't know what they call those. That's what they made us write with in first grade when I went to school.
Yeah,
and I hated them.
Kindergarten, first grade, that's what we had to write with. But I found some of those that were carpenter pencils, so they were round instead of flat. And I put them, I got the retractable pencil thingy that I clipped to the front of my pens on the door. That way I can, write the number down. I write the number of pen it comes out of, and I write the answer, what day it was. Does anybody else write what day they collect eggs?
On the egg?
Yeah.
I do. The pin number and the date it was laid.
Okay, so I'm not the only one that's OCD like that.
All right, let me ask you a question, Kerry.
Lay it on me.
Which end of the egg do you write it on?
I write it on the bigger end because I put the pointy end down when I set them in the egg trays.
Which way do you put the eggs when it goes into the hatching tray?
The same way.
So you hatch yours upright?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The reason I was if folks lay their eggs flat to hatch, okay, I encourage them to write that information on the small end of the egg, because when the egg hatches and those chicks get to scurrying around in there, they'll break those big top pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to read. But if you write it on the small end of the egg, it very seldom gets crushed.
Yep, that's true. When I used to use a NR360 and my Van Popubs, I'll ride it on the smaller end. But I store mine in the GQF trays, so it holds them perfectly upright. And I've got a piece of 2x2 that I've cut about, I think they're 14 inches long, and I'll set that on one side. In the mornings, I'll swap it to the other side. And when I get home before I go to bed, I swap it back. So roughly, depending on the day, every 12 hours, they go from this way to this way. And I'm excited to do that in a
Chris
line
had a
share.
question here on the side. On that note, is there things we should not use to write on eggs?
That's a good question.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, me personally, I have used a Sharpie and I have used a pencil. I have heard not to use a Sharpie because it can get through the egg. So that's like a last option. All my pencils are gone type thing. That's one of the reasons why I put pencils on a lot of my brood pens. But yeah.
The other thing that I know people use them and seems to work, but it's just a thing with me. Grease pencils. They'll write on them with grease pencils, and to me that plugs up the pores of the eggshell itself.
Yeah.
And rather than having a chance that causes a problem, I just stick with a graphite pencil.
Yeah, like I like these because they're carpenter pencils, and you can let them have a more blunt tip, but yet it still writes well, and you can see it because that's the thing. I don't want to plug them up. Let's see. Rob uses egg baskets. Yeah. Crayons. I think John meant saying crayons. Yeah.
Crayons.
They will. I wouldn't use a wax pencil or anything like that.
If it's wax based, you don't want to probably use.
No.
Yeah. What is the average lifespan in years, for those of y'all that want detail, of a backyard chicken? And it's gonna, we're looking for
what is
a
it
range.
Or what should it be?
What is the average lifespan range in years of a backyard chicken? What should it be?
Can I answer?
Yeah.
Well, answers are coming in. I've seen the right answer. I don't know what number you're looking for.
What's your answer, Jeff?
4 to 6.
Let's see. Now we have a tie.
Why?
That's the right answer?
To me, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Based on my experience, that is what I hear most common is 4 to 6. And then their owner has killed them with kindness and they die of fatty liver and, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so let me ask you this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Should you adjust an older bird's nutrition different from your average breeder formula?
No. If people will molt their chickens correctly, right, and quit overfeeding them with treats and mealworms and crap, then their hen can live to beyond 9 years old and still be productive. Not as productive as her pullet year, but she can go beyond 9 years and still be a layer if she's been molted correctly.
I have a brood cock that is 12. And he is still very eager to do his job. And his hatch rate, the last pen hatch that accidentally happened in the brood pen, they all hatched out. I think there was 9 of them.
Well, 12's getting close to setting a new record, so
Yeah.
keep him going. But
I'm going to keep him going, and I'm also being very selective with his sons. Working on my heir and my spare because he is getting old. Jeff, Joy told someone today that they were feeding way too much treats.
yeah, people can't help themselves, right? I mean, chickens can look at you with those puppy dog eyes. They can beg as good
They lay
as
a guilt
any
trip on
creature.
you.
I'm telling you. And, you know, and people want to turn them into their missing children or, you know, their favorite pet or whatever. And, you know, the worst thing we can do is give too many treats. Okay.
I mean,
All we do is throw off the nutrition.
So who won that round? Joy?
Right now, Joy and John are the leaders.
I mean, that last question, who won the?
Oh, that was Joy.
Okay. All right. Just trying to keep my stuff straight here.
Man, Rip, you're trying to keep straight.
Well, you said trying. That doesn't mean the same thing as doing.
That's
Just bear that in
full-time.
mind now.
That's a full-time job. Jeff's not even attempting.
Y'all let's see, we've got about 12, 13 minutes left. You ought to get into some of those more difficult questions.
Let's go to question number 60. And with this question, the answer, one of them is a physical telltale, and one of them is a I can't really. I'll just say these are all physical traits.
Yes.
Of some sort or of another without giving it away. What are the signs of nutritional deficiencies in poultry?
I tried to find some of that music and I couldn't find it.
They got it all copyrighted. I see one of the answers. We're looking for 3 different answers. 3 different traits that will give you signs of nutritional deficiencies in poultry.
Oh, she's so close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I will. This is not the complete correct answer, but I will give Jason a very good attaboy for the bad poop. Jeff and I both are, you know, it's anytime somebody says, "What's wrong with my chicken?" First thing we want to know is what it's doing. The second thing is what the poop looks like. So that could be. Rip, do you think Farming and Art has enough different answers to get? I'm really not seeing the one main one that I'm looking for. That first one. I've only seen that mentioned like once, twice maybe.
I think this is probably going to wind up going to whoever got the most out of 3.
Yeah.
Joy thinks she should only given 1 minute to submit the answer on this one. So,
I mean, if we cut it off at 1 minute, I don't know that we would have answers. I mean, we've been looking for answers for.
well, I'm really curious what you guys put down.
All right, so
I'm going to put in an answer what I think it is.
We will cut it off with Joy's comment, and we will say the answer that I have is pale combs, poor egg quality, and slow growth. By egg quality, I mean hatchability, fertility, that type stuff. You know, I don't mean it goes from a grade A to a grade B. And slow growth, no growth, losing a lot of weight, whatever.
Yeah, I would have gone with the comb color, feather quality, and egg quality, right? Those would have been the top 3 for me, in my opinion. But
Let's see.
the comb and the feathers are the first thing you're going to lose if a bird's sick or not healthy.
Yeah. And
Hey, before we go any further, I got something I need to do. I apologize. I was going to do this earlier.
Got to pay the
got away
bills.
from me. Got to pay the bills. We would like to take a short break to express our appreciation to the Portrell Company for their sponsorship of the Poultry Keepers 360 Live programming. Portrell has been a trusted name in sustainable farming and poultry nutrition for decades, and their commitment to providing high-quality, natural products align perfectly with the values we hold dear in our poultry community. Thank you, Portrell, for partnering with us to empower poultry keepers everywhere. We're truly grateful for your dedication and support. All done.
All right. So who got the most answers the quickest on that one? The most of the 3. I'm looking. John Pelton said, all right, so we have.
You almost have to give that. I was going to say you almost have to give it to Jason. You know, weak eggs, feathering. Of course, you were looking for growth, eggs, and color of the comb. So
I was going to say, you know, Sue says poor feather quality, lethargy, and poor development.
Yeah. So she got 2 out of the 3 early.
Right. Weak eggs, which is poor egg quality, feathering, bad poop.
You got to give that one to Sue, I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I don't. We might have to just cross out number 65 because I disagree with that. Question number 66 is, let's see. How does methionine affect feather development? What makes methionine important?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
As much as we harp about lysine and methionine, I thought
The
this would be a
quill.
gimme.
The quill. Man, look at Laura. Now we have a three-way. My sheet ain't working. A three-way tie for the lead. Methionine is the basic building block of feathers and structure. Jeff, you want to elaborate on that any?
No, I mean, you between you and Laura, you said it correctly, but your methionine is going to set actually your feather follicle and ongoing appropriate methionine. Not too much. You can actually overdo it, but it's going to give you overall feather structure, veining the whole bit. And without it, you just not, you're not going to have a high quality feather that's going to hold up, look good,
And that brings me to another topic. A lot of people say that you can't have too much of a good thing.
Yes,
When
you
it
can.
comes to vitamins, minerals, and amino acids and protein, yeah, you can. Because, earlier we were talking about poor feathering and that kind of stuff. And too much of a lot of that stuff can cause you to have poor feathering. It can cause you to wear out the internal organs of the bird. And instead of hitting that 4 to 6 year mark, they might hit that 2-year mark. So
You overfeed.
actually,
You overfeed protein and methionine, and you're gonna fray the feather. It's almost gonna look like a frizzle, right? And
yeah.
you're gonna fray it. It's gonna curl. It's not gonna lay right. So you can overshoot the feathers drastically, right? And so the combination. Not the combination, but either. I see too many people overfeeding protein for too long a period, and they're gambling, right? You can really do some damage to those feathers.
I had
The only reason
somebody.
that the only reason that they don't, right? Like if they're using, say, a commercial game bird starter or something, the methionine levels at that mid 0.5, like 0.55, 0.57.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had a really, top quality turkey starter where that methionine's at 0.7, they're gonna burn them up, right? They're gonna ruin their feather quality, right? They're just you're gonna throw a bunch of junkers for a year, and you got to wait till they molt to fix it. So
I had somebody tell me that they learned about overfeeding protein the hard way. A lot of people will feed a starter from start to right about the time that breed should start laying, which, just stick your fingers in your ear.
yeah,
And she told me that, she did that because somebody that she thought she trusted that knew a lot about breeding had told her that. And her birds didn't make it to lay too many eggs. They didn't live a full year. So you can really tax them. Here's a question. Here's a question. How do you condition birds to get nice, shiny, soft feathers? What do you feed and where do you house them, or how do you house them?
I mean, it is a combination of feed and environment, but when they go through the molt, or if you're starting with chicks, and you're bringing them up through, having that proper balance. But you know what? The shininess and the softness comes from having the right amount of fat in the feed. Okay. So if your feed's not running between 5 and 7 on fat, and depending on the breed, it needs to be up near 7, and in other breeds, down around 5. But the window of fat is between 5 and 7. And I haven't seen too many commercial feeds that even have 5% fat, right? So
you'll see like 3 or 4.
2, 3, 4. But, there's only a few that are hitting 5+. Sir,
I was just going to say, I've also noticed a difference when I would feed my birds like lard or beef tallow, give them a little animal fat. That really helped.
They process it more easily, right?
Yeah.
Because in the wild, the fat they would be getting would be more from animal fat,
right.
Find a dead carcass or whatever. But they can process animal fats better than they can seed oil fats. And it has nothing, it's just the way they metabolize it. Okay. So they can process some seed oil fats just fine, but they're going to metabolize lard or animal fat better than they do seed oil.
All right. Do we have time for one more question, or are we over?
We're already over.
Okay.
Rip's
In
hungry.
that case, I will say that we have a 3-way tie right now between Joy, John, and Laura with 2 points each.
You got to have a tiebreaker. Are you going to do more shows on management or just this one?
I mean, we got 99 questions because Rip and I both agreed to blackball one of them.
Well, either you got to have a tiebreaker question, or you're going to have to come back and do management in 2 weeks to find you a winner.
I mean, this whole thing could take a couple of months.
That's fine.
It's gonna be like a running thing.
Everybody's learning from it. There's a lot of good stuff being thrown around. So, and I would say you continue on the management until we get the feed part squared away, right? And
well, maybe next week or in 2 weeks we don't do the whole show. Coop IQ. We'll take like a 15-20 minute segment or a 10-minute segment, depending on what topic we have in 2 weeks.
Well, see, I thought when you sent the email earlier today that you were going to work through each one of these and do all 100 questions, right? And then tally up who had the most in each category. That was my assumption. So I didn't read the instructions.
And I mean, that's accurate, but for us to get through this many questions, I mean, it'd be Coupe IQ for what, Rip? 3 months?
That'd be longer than that because you're only doing 2 shows a month.
I was going to say per category.
I think everybody learned a lot tonight, and I think everybody had a good time. I mean, they can leave their comments, but so far we're getting a bunch of people, that said it was fun, right? Sue said it was fun. She's the president of the club, so we'll do what she says.
And Joy, to answer your question, we're going to do a trophy for each category and send it to you. So you will get an actual trophy to sit, wherever you do your stuff, that says PK360, I forget, Poultry Manager, I forget how it was worded, but it'll be on there. We'll have PK360, master feeder, master breeder, and master poultry manager. And that'll be a title that you'll be able to get.
That and $1 to get you a cup of coffee. No.
I was gonna say, we're talking about bragging rights here. That's
There you
it.
go. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, that should be enough. Here's the thing, though. So tonight was a surprise. They didn't really know what they were walking into tonight. So now everybody has a chance to go back and binge watch all the old episodes. It's almost like, playing a game of Jeopardy. So now you have study guides. You can go back and you can go get all the answers. And
Yeah,
refresh your memory.
they'll come back loaded for bear next time.
Huh? That's
Oh,
good.
I'm sure. And to me, that is the exciting part about the whole thing is, this is going to get people to want to do some more research. It's going to get them to want to go back and watch episodes so they can, brush up their skills. Because, let's be honest, guys, who doesn't want a trophy and or a free T-shirt? If you look at your lives, at the stupid things that you have done, because at the end of the day, you got a free T-shirt or a trophy. That's a lot. So,
hey, this cover, there was a lot of great information shared tonight's show.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
I you can keep doing these till the cows come home. I don't care. But
No,
you have to be pretty old to know that saying. But anyway,
well, it's till the chickens go to roost. This is not a bovine.
I was gonna
show.
say we're not waiting till the cows go home, but when the chickens roost, we'll be there.
Oh, mercy. Well, folks, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. I know I had fun, and I could tell that our listeners were having fun with it too. And we'll keep trying to pull the wool over your eyes on some questions in the future. So until next time, y'all keep enjoying your birds, keep learning, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.